So what percentage of women watch porn? The answer is an astonishing 66%.
If you want a word with Rosemary this morning, here's Kirsty. I'm going to talk to her in a moment about porn, because her dad's watching, with the numbers. Kirsty, have I put you in an awkward position there? Oh, what was that book you were mentioning to us during the advertising? What was the book about?
I've got, it's a book called Porn for Women. But basically what it is like on every page it's a guy doing a different chore, like ironing and there's like speech bubbles, like the woman's doing the washing and there's a speech bubble with the guy just saying, no, I'll do that. It's the best porn book ever for women.
Your father
really
must be very proud. Here's Kirsty with the numbers.
Thank you. The number to call is, of course, 0207 173 5555. Calls will cost a maximum of 10 pence a minute, and that is based on a BT landline call. Mobile phone charges and other networks may vary. You can also email us at 5.tv, and if you'd like to send us a text, number is 80088. Text messages will cost 25 pence plus your standard network charge. Not all messages will be shown on screen, and always put TWS before your comments.
Right now, though, do women want erotic magazines? Specifically, this one is called Filament, and it bills itself as the thinking woman's crumpet, promising readers stimulating reading, saucy fiction and beautiful men. Open it up and you'll find an article pitching hardcore porn against softcore, a homoerotic sketch of two men and a sexually explicit short story, all interspersed with images of half-naked fellas who, as I said earlier, look a bit gay to me, but then what do I know? They're certainly not the honed, six-pack flexing, chisel types you'll normally serve, ladies. Oh, and there's also a recipe for celeriac bake, an article about motherhood, which is by an atheist, and interviews with a couple of women who've chosen careers in computer programming. Which of those will get your juices going, ladies? Motherhood, the new sexual turn-on? I don't think so. This is something I've just seen here. That is, I don't know if you see, that is supposed to be an erotic picture. I mean, you can't see anything.
I can't see them. It's just pitch black. It's bizarre.
Now, previous attempts to publish female-friendly erotica have all failed. There was 4 Women in the 1980s. Remember that one, ladies? Playgirl, that ceased printing last November, although it does live on as a website. The Erotic Review, does that count? Not really. So what about those dirty books you can buy, the Black Lace series, which look like Mills and Boon gone porn, which boast such titles as Bedding the Burglar, Full Steam Ahead, Kiss It Better, and my own personal favourite, All the Trimmings. I still haven't stopped laughing over that one. Now, I know it's thoughts rather than images that are supposed to turn you ladies on, but what do you think of Filament? Could it do things that other mags for women have failed to do? We sent Kirsty, naturally, out with some pictures from Filament to see what you thought.
No, that doesn't turn me on whatsoever.
No, he looks really girly. Well, no, it doesn't do it for me. They look a bit gay, actually.
I mean, they look a bit gay, quite honest.
I think they're more likely to turn on other guys, if you know what I mean.
This guy definitely no. He looks like he's passed out, yeah. Gay. So no. No, none of them.
I wouldn't fancy this one.
Why not?
Well, he's ugly, really, isn't he? Poor thing.
Now, as far as the gay thing goes, I think this is worth saying. There's a little piece in the back, Janet, which says that men have been served up fake lesbianism for a long time, and that there's some evidence to suggest that women could get turned on, if you like, by fake homoerotic male-on-male stuff. So maybe that explains why there's this sort of why so many people see it as being a bit gay. Well, what is your take of the whole magazine overall?
Could we have our own stuff first, though, before they test out that theory?
Do women want erotic magazines? That's the question.
I think women want erotic literature.
Right.
I think they don't. I personally have no girlfriends that are stimulated by pictures of half-naked men. No, and it just doesn't work. You know, funnily enough, I think it refers back to our last item about imaginary friends. They usually want somebody with whom you have some sort of connection, some image you've seen before, something that reminds you of something. But I think erotic literature has a big place in a lot of women's lives, and people like Nancy Friday have done pioneering work. And that is, I mean, it's impossible to talk about this without sounding like a Carry On film, but it's a growth industry, really. And but the sad thing about this magazine is, first of all, it's edited by a woman, because a lot of the previous attempts were edited by men, which, you know, is a bit like the pole dancing thing, isn't it? It's an idea of how women view sexuality, which is nothing to do with the way that a group of women will talk together about sex and men. And if you could reflect that in some sort of magazine, it would be a really bestseller.
Anybody who wants to even attempt to launch a magazine in the current financial climate. So they're obviously they're driven, they've got a calling.
Yes.
What's your take on this magazine then specifically?
I don't know who it's aimed at. I mean, I think it's actually an odd sort of production anyway, because the whole look of it is kind of wrong. It's not a particularly enticing thing. I have to say, it looks more like those sort of freebie magazines that your local borough leaves around in the dentist for you. You know, it just doesn't have that sort of appeal, and that's all part of it too. And certainly, when you first skim through something like this, I mean, let's say you were looking for a cheap thrill, you should find it. You should find it somewhere. You should find something that really draws you in. That is the purpose of this. It's supposed to be titillating, and sadly it isn't. I mean, maybe it's there somewhere, and obviously if I had all the time in the world, I might take it off and really make sure there was nothing. But certainly, so far,
I can't see how that's even a cheap thrill. It's £7.
Exactly.
Is that how much it is? I didn't know.
Oh, that's upset the apple.
But £7 for a magazine is a huge amount of money. And I mean, whoever did the market research on that should be shot.
Exactly.
As far as I'm
You
concerned.
think it's way off the mark?
I think it's miles off the mark. I've got lots of gay male friends who would love that magazine. They would absolutely adore it. And most women...
There's not enough of that either. I mean, it's just, you know, it doesn't actually do anything for anyone, does it? It's kind of slightly worthy, slightly...
OK, I'm wary about just dumping on the magazine, because the magazine is the springboard into a discussion about whether women want erotic magazines rather than literature.
I think they do. I think they probably do, but that's not the right one.
I think women do want erotic stuff. We've
I'll be honest, I don't think women know what they want, Stephen. If they did, surely these magazines wouldn't keep going bust and going under, which they keep getting pulled. They have been for years and years and years. It can't be that hard finding out what you want, is it?
I think maybe they should do a survey at all these sex shops that are appeal to women, because they have a great success. They could do a survey within those shops to find out what women actually want. This, I don't think, is it. And we've had a lot of comments today from people on the street, people here going, oh, a bit gay, so maybe I'll take it home.
Slightly cynically, I'd like to know who's marketing this, who's actually putting the money in, because it could be someone who took fright at what was originally served up. You got published that, and they've come up with this rather anodyne version.
OK, let's throw it open to you. I mean, the big question is whether or not women want... I don't know what the right way... Erotic magazines is the best thing. OK, well, let's throw it open to you and find out what you want. Kirsty.
Lisa's on line one.
OK, Lisa, good morning.
Morning, Matthew.
Generally, do you as a woman, you know, hanker after some kind of magazine that's a bit naughty?
Well, as a teenager, I would have, if I wanted to have a look at a Wogan pouch, then I would have ploughed my way through a catalogue. To have a little nose. But to be honest, Matthew, men's willies aren't attractive, and I don't particularly want to see a magazine of that.
Well, you'll be thrilled with this magazine, because there really are... I mean, there are no real willies to be seen. There's some drawn ones.
And I don't want to see a man's physique that looks like a 12-year-old boy. But on the other hand, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be in the audience a few weeks ago when we saw Eric stripped to the waist, and that was quite pleasurable. So. Yeah, thank you for that, Eric. You was on holiday, Matthew.
I know. I'm just thinking, how are we going to get Eric's head through the double doors of the studio when we leave? Well, we'll have to find a way.
Jealous.
I mean, can you imagine Lisa ever going into a magazine shop and hunting down not just Filament but any kind of magazine?
Well, I mean, I have done, and that's really just for the hen night weekend when I needed to decorate the hen's veil with pictures, and that's the only time. But on a personal level, no. And I'm a big. I'd like to big up Anne Summers. That does it for me.
OK. All right. No, fair play to you. I mean, that's what Stephen said. It's clearly, and there's other shops out there as well. Coco de Mer, I know that does very well. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the thoughts. Let's have another.
Michelle, and she's on line two.
Michelle, good morning.
Hi there.
Hi. You got any desire to pick up a sort of erotic women's magazine?
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't really know what the fuss is about. These magazines have been around for a long time.
But they come and they go. They never survive, Michelle. That's the point.
I think Scarlet was an off-shelf magazine, and now that's next to Vogue or Marie Claire. Marie Claire, Vogue, all these magazines have articles in these magazines that are relating to the magazine you've got there. I won't pay £7 for one, mind, have to say, but I don't think it's a new concept. I think women have their own careers, they have their own lives. I think there's a need. The statistic on pornography, 66% of women watch pornography. There's obviously a need.
But the interesting thing about that statistic, which I find slightly confusing, is I'm constantly told that images it doesn't do it for women. And we all know that pornography is designed for men and is purely image-based. I mean, if you look at some of the creatures in there, you just think it's almost comedic, back down to comedy breasts and stuff like that. So what is it about the porn that you're watching that turns you on, that maybe you're lying and you actually all just want images, Michelle?
I think you're right. I think if you look at men's magazines, it's all a visual thing.
Yeah.
I agree, I completely agree. But I also think that women now are becoming so much more independent. We look at David Beckham, we might look at Vin Diesel, whoever we look at, we're actually becoming more visual. There are magazines, is pornography designed for women.
So you think you're becoming more visual, more visually turned on?
I think women as a species are becoming, not more masculine isn't the word I want to use, but more independent. And I think that we're just as bad as men at wolf whistling down the street or whatever. I don't think there's too much of a difference. And I think we're in 2009 now. OK, I want to ask our audience, if I may. I think that's fascinating. Michelle's saying that perhaps due to popular culture, women are becoming more visually orientated, more visually turned on. Would you agree with that, ladies?
Well, I've got two ladies next to me, so let's hear what they think. Julianne.
I totally agree. I think that women should be more aware of their bodies, and with porn, I mean, I put my hands up, I watch porn, but it's more geared at men than it is for women. I think they need to put a little bit more oomph in there for us.
So what is it that you want?
Well, when you watch porn, it's always you've got two women and one man. This man's laying back and being satisfied. Not mean to go into too much detail, because it is more than TV.
I appreciate that. Please don't.
But you know, if you want to get us stimulated, let us lay back and get two men doing everything that we want. Make us like.
Well, that's what this magazine is kind of. You know, that's.
That magazine. No, I had to flip through. It's a bit tame. I mean, there's some articles that might be interesting. Pubic hair. Okay, might find out a few bits out there that I don't know at my age. I think I should know. But I would like to see a bit more, like, of the chest and the, just a little bit, slight bit of the butt.
Something a bit more overt.
Yeah, because interestingly enough, there are now more women directors of porn films.
Yeah.
No, there used to be
none at all. One of my best friends is a major porn producer, and it is fascinating talking to her, but it's undoubtedly that all porn primarily is aimed for men. But I find it fascinating. I think Michelle is bang on the button that women are becoming more visually oriented.
I still think there's an emotional connection, though. I still think it's not just a picture of a man. It's somebody
I think Michelle is absolutely right. Women are being more able to express their visuality in terms of porn. I've got two friends who are in a show called Puppetry of the Penis, right? They've toured the whole country, and the aisles are full of women who would just let their inhibitions go, and they're cackling, they're grabbing, they're seeing a big chest, and they're seeing willies, and they're going crazy.
They're funny. That's because they're funny in that show.
Naked men.
Yeah, but they are funny.
They're naked men. Let's be honest.
They're funny.
Well, listen, like a well-thumbed magazine, we've come to the last page as far as the panel is concerned anyway. Dr. Rosemary Leonard's still to come, of course. Unfortunate choice of words, but there you go. So it's goodbye, George, first of all. I have to say, great to have you with us this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, I've loved it.
Home show tonight, 8 o'clock on 4. Cheers to Janet and Stephen. I've loved the show, and I hope you have too, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for the panel.